on. They can hear us. Go.
Test, test, 1, 2, 1, 2. Hey, folks, can you hear us?
Yep, I can
Sorry,
hear you.
we're dumb. It took us a minute. Hello, everybody. Oh, shit, there are 11 people in here. What's up, Buttercups? I am Spike, the owner, founder, and editor of Editor for Life at Iron
I
Circus
know who you
Comics.
are.
No, you have to do it. You have to be
No,
professional.
you don't.
Yes.
And I'm Kel.
Go.
Test,
And
test, 1, 2, 1, 2.
And
you
are?
Hey,
you,
folks, can you hear us?
you
Good
extended
job.
the
Sorry, I'm
intro,
switching
so now our
headphones.
Sorry.
Is
beats
it
are
my turn?
off. Like,
We're
you're
dumb.
supposed
It
to
took
say,
us a
I'm
minute.
Spike, and then I
Hello,
do my
everybody.
I'm
Oh,
Kel.
shit,
And
there are 11 people in here. What's up, Buttercups?
you all so much.
I am Spike,
Oops,
the owner,
oops,
founder, and
oops.
editor of Editor for Life.
I have the audio doubling
Oh.
up on itself. Ignore me. I'm so bad at this.
Oh god. Okay, we'll start over. Hello, everybody. I'm Spike,
I'm Kel.
I'm Amanda.
and welcome to the Iron Circus Geek Show. This is not the right graphic that I'm seeing on YouTube, but that's fine.
What's wrong with it? What's wrong with it?
It says episode 1. We're back at Dinosaur
I don't know
Story.
why YouTube did that. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know either.
It just
I don't
did
know
that. That's
either.
not what this episode is.
No, this is actually episode 2, which is question mark times 15.
Because, well, originally we were going to talk about stuff we've been reading, but I got the distinct feeling between last episode and now we haven't been reading a lot.
God, no, that's the thing about making
Hey.
comics. My comics reading has gone way down since my comics making has gone up.
I've been reading things.
Oh yeah,
I
what have you
said
been
we,
reading?
collectively. It can't
Yeah.
be the Kel show. I mean, it could, I guess.
Yeah, it's like that's totally
Well, that's
possible.
true. Actually, never mind. Go on, Kel. Take over the show. It's yours for like the next hour.
Yeah. Let's talk about how Spy Family is great.
No, I don't want to
Amanda-
talk about Spy Family. I don't want to talk about Spy Family.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
sorry. I don't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm working through some stuff on Crunchyroll right now, and I haven't gotten to Spy Family yet. I'm sorry. I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, well, spoiler, it's great.
Yeah,
I
it's
know
great.
this is what I hear, but the
I'm
thing
not
is,
caught
I'm
up.
super-
By the way, I don't want to
Yeah.
talk about it either. I'm
Yeah.
not caught up. I fell off for a bit. I need to catch up, but it is great.
Yeah. I have
Um,
heard so many good things about Spy Family, but the thing is, I'm working my way through like 3 other series. I'm like watching Original Recipe Gundam, and I'm watching the second season of Mob Psycho, and I'm watching a couple other things. So I do a half hour a night while I'm on the treadmill, and I can't go any faster. You know, like that's
I've also been reading way back in Dirty Old Ladies. I talked about how I like a manga called Love Is War.
uh-huh.
And that I used to read it at the library, but they stopped ordering new volumes because of COVID.
I
But
love you, Abby.
the Viz Shonen Jump app has decided to include Love Is War on their archive now. So I got caught up on that.
Mhm.
I still love those idiot, quote unquote, smart kids who can't admit their feelings. It's good stuff. I've also been reading a great shoujo manga called My Love Mix-Up, which is by the person who did My Love Story.
Amanda, is that you dragging the goddamn icon?
I
all
didn't
over
know
the
where to
screen?
put it. I was trying to figure out the best spot for it.
God, fucking nightmare.
Yeah, so the My Love Mix-Up is about should really be called My Bisexual Disaster. Because the basic premise is main dude is realized that he's bisexual and has a crush on both a boy and a girl and doesn't know who to kiss first. It's very cute.
That does sound cute.
Um,
Yeah. By the way, I figured out I was lying. I was lying horribly. Uh, I have read something recently, but the thing is, I made a impulse purchase based on the cover of a book, which you should never do. And I got it on Amazon, and I have it in my bathroom. So the idea is to read it either when I'm on the can or I'm soaking in the tub. But the thing is, I've been trying to read it for literal months, and I just fucking can't. I can't. Like, it's like when you were 12 and you were trying to study, and it was the last thing you wanted to do in that moment. And you just read the same page 15 times and absorb nothing. And that's what it is. If anyone wants to look this up, it is a boys' love manga called There Are Things I Can't Tell You. And I have been trying to read it since March of this year. And I fucking can't. I literally cannot. It's there's just something about it. Maybe it's the translation, but it's just like ugh. It's 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 like that swamp in Never-Ending Story where it just swallows up your brain and just nothing. It's just you're just stuck and you never move forward and it kills your horse. So I cannot recommend. There Are Things I Can't Tell You.
Um,
I'll read you the the summary where it's about now hold on to your butts everybody. It's about a reserved, soft-spoken and shy guy and an energetic and popular guy.
What the
And they
fuck?
like each other. And they like each other. Mwah,
this
mwah.
is fucking every boy's love
I
story.
know, it's so stupid. This is why you shouldn't fucking buy things because
Abby translates that.
Abby, I can't deal with it, Abby. I'm so sorry. I can't
All right,
deal
well,
with it.
I'm gonna go back to talking about My Love Mix-Up because that's a good comic. So basically, in My Love Mix-Up,
I would like to just say, Kel's already told me all about this, so like I'm gonna tune out for a bit. Goodbye.
okay. Main dude has a crush on the girl that sits next to him. And in the very first few pages, he borrows an eraser from her, and she has another dude's name on it. Because in Japan, there's like a superstition thing where if you write someone's name on the eraser and use up the eraser the whole time, before anyone finds out you have a crush on that person, then they'll return your feelings.
That is some real middle school shit.
Yep. So anyway, so he sees another guy's name on her eraser and then is very sad. Because oh no, his crush likes someone else. But then he gets flustered and drops the eraser, and the guy whose name is on the eraser is the dude that sits in front of him, who then picks up the eraser and sees his name on another guy's eraser. And before main character can explain, the girl is like, please don't tell anyone that I have a crush on this guy. And so he keeps her secret by pretending he's like, yes, I do have a crush on you, but you don't have to do anything because I know that you're straight, so just ignore it. And then the guy is like, well, I feel bad rejecting you because I don't know you, so we should get to know each other so I can reject you properly.
Fair enough.
And then they hang out, and then the main character gets an actual crush on this guy and doesn't know what to do. And he tells the girl that he has a crush on that he also has a crush on this dude now. So he actually ends up getting closer to the girl he has a crush on because she's trying, they're like being like comrades in arms again, like about having a crush on this guy. Like, I like his smile. Oh, did you see what he did today? Like,
This sounds kind of exhausting.
it's
Is this
very
one of is this one of those plots where if everybody just was like a fucking adult for 5 seconds and told everyone else how they felt, it would be 10 pages long?
No, because they because basically what would have been a misunderstanding ends up becoming fact. So everyone does have all the facts except for the girl doesn't know that main character likes her too.
Okay.
But yeah, so dude seems into it. So the answer might be like, yeah, they all have a three-way.
Oh, I just forgot. I have been reading things.
But yeah, so My Love Mix-Up, very cute.
Okay.
And should end in a three-way.
Fair
It's
enough.
by Spike. Did you ever read My Love Story, the one about the big buff guy? And the girl that he liked?
That is so vague.
It is kind of vague. I think this is something you might have recommended to me in the past, but I don't know if I ever got around to it. I'm sorry.
I was probably not the one that recommended it to you because I thought that the premise got old. But it was talked about a lot. Like,
Yeah, it's becoming very clear to me that like I can't do the sort of like the standard meat grinder manga shit. Like I can't do the, oh, I'm the loud peppy one and I'm the shy one and opposites attract and let's spend 50 pages not talking about our feelings. And it's like, shut up.
well, see that's why I like My Love Mix-Up, because everyone is maybe too communicative.
Hmm. That would be refreshing.
Which is why I like it, because like I said, it's let's see how it goes, and that's like a refreshingly honest response. And
Mm.
then he's like, yeah, I think the dude he has a crush on, it might be building up to him figuring out that he's asexual or aromantic, and
Hmm.
there's a lot of his like, this love thing intrigues me. I've never had feelings like that before, so
Oh my God.
everyone
Oh,
talks about it like it's important.
yeah.
So
This
let's
is
give it a go.
this goddamn podcast geek show stream thing is gonna fuck me up because it's gonna make me talk about my goddamn Pillow Fort comic. But
Well,
I'm
I'll
going to.
distract you. I will talk
Yes,
about what I
please.
have been reading.
Yes,
I,
help me resist the siren call. Lash me to the
I
mast.
mostly read webcomics because webcomics are the superior publishing format. It's just the same. They don't really generate money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, unless you're Laura Olympus.
why rub salt in my wounds?
None of us is Laura Olympus. It's okay.
The heights I cannot reach. How dare you?
It's okay. There only gets to be one.
That's true. Look, I'm just glad there is one. That's what matters. I think it's a fine comic. This isn't me disparaging it, but like even if it was a comic I hated, I would be so happy it was doing well because we need a fucking webcomic plastered on Times Square.
Honest to God, yeah, it's like here's the thing. I am a huge proponent of the whole rising tides raise all ships thing. Like
Yes.
I'm never upset when a webcomic or a comic for adults, gets a high profile because every time that becomes news, there are a few 100,000 million, however many more people that go, oh, I didn't know a thing like this existed. And maybe they go home and they Google it and they enter a whole new world, and
Yeah.
they find Iron Circus or they find Webtoon or they find Tapas or whatever. And maybe one day they buy one of my books. Like that doesn't hurt me.
I was watching people on Twitter and they're like talking about some like a bunch of webtoon stuff that was ending up like on buses and they're like, ugh, but it's that stuff that shouldn't represent us. And I just wanted to like wrap my hand around their mouth and like, shh, it's one of us.
Yeah.
Be quiet. Shh.
Yeah, exactly. Like just because
Let a
it's not to
webcomic
your
be successful, then people will go,
right
oh my gosh,
on.
what's a webcomic? And then you can go, oh, let me show you.
Exactly.
Let me
For
show
God's
you. Come over
sake.
here. We have more.
Yeah,
It's
like,
stuff you didn't see on a bus stop.
exactly. And like I hate to let folks know, right, this is how it is in every industry, okay? This is how it is for Iron Circus.
I'm being
There's not
loud,
a
I'm
doubt in my
sorry.
mind. Oh no, you're good. You're good.
I'm good?
This is how
Fine.
Okay.
this is how it is for Iron Circus. I'm positive this is how it is for Random House. I'm positive this is how it is for every publisher or whatever you want to think of, where the majority of the books are slow earners. And when I say majority, I'm talking 60, 70%, just slow earners. Not in the red, not failures, just drip, 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 drip. And that's fine.
I forget where I
But-
read it, but someplace was saying that like every company has that one property that makes like 90% of its income.
Right on, right on. And I honestly bet 90% of the people watching this wouldn't be able to guess who that is. Like Iron Circus. It's not the porn. It is not the porn. The porn on Iron Circus, straight up, it's a labor of love and it's a genre we lean into because it's hard to get that shit any other
The porn
place.
pays for itself, but it is not the blockbuster.
No, it is not. It is not. And
The porn pays for itself in ways other projects just don't.
yeah, like right now we've got middle grade and up. That's like the gravy train in published graphic novels right now is middle grade to YA. There is not currently, good way to put this. I'm not going to say there's not an audience out there for adult-specific graphic novels, because there definitely is.
No,
But
oh,
there's
there
not
is, but nobody is making actual efforts to reach them. There are ways to get to them, and no
exactly.
one's trying.
There is what we're waiting on right now, and I'm going to get a bunch of people that are like going to say, "Oh, but what about this book? What about that book?" It doesn't count. Okay, trust me, it doesn't count. We're waiting on the bone of graphic novel,
No.
of adult graphic novels.
No.
Like, oh,
We're waiting on our Twilight.
we're waiting on our Twilight. Okay, maybe that. We're waiting.
Another good one might be our Raina Telgemeier of adult graphic
Yeah,
novels.
exactly. The thing where, because there are editors at Random House.
I meant in terms of
at
like
Simon
actually being adult.
Yeah. Well,
Ish.
what I'm saying is there are editors right now at Random House and Simon and Schuster and Abrams and all those mega companies who would love to publish adult graphic novels, but those publishers are like Disney in that they don't really wake up for less than $1 billion. They don't care for less than $1 billion. And if they can like whip out a book that is sort of undebatably for adult audiences, a graphic novel, and sells like 50 million copies, and they can wave that in front of whoever signs the checks and goes, see, it exists. Then they can get their adult graphic novel branch greenlighted, their imprint greenlighted, and then we're off to the fucking races. But that hasn't happened yet. There hasn't been the big adult graphic novel blockbuster yet. Yes, there was, My Favorite Thing is Monsters and books like that. But while that sold a lot, it did not sell 50 million copies. It didn't sell the kind of numbers that would make Simon and Schuster, Abrams, blah, 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 sit up and take notice. We are still waiting on that. And this comes from the softest part of my heart. I fucking love shit like Chris Ware. I love that kind of shit. But it's too much for most people. And it's not going to be one of those art house guys who makes it. Something like Lore Olympus has the potential to make it, because it has popular appeal. It's already really popular. It might make Simon and Schuster or whoever sit up and take notice, but it's not going to be these like art house, my gap year in Prague books. And I say this as a person who has
no one expected it to be those.
Yeah, but it's like that kind of goes back to the people you were talking about. It's like, oh, that shouldn't represent us. It's like, well, comics aren't mainstream, It's that what represents us needs to be mainstream.
Well, I also think people are just
you're not going to change.
Well, I also just think people are being snobby.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Comic snobs are the worst. It's true.
Dude. One of the big reasons I personally wanted to do this show and like start it over and not just to make more episodes of the previous podcast is I kind of don't think I can stand by like probably 50% of the stuff I used to say, because it's like, my opinions have changed a lot.
Yeah, you grew as a person. It
and
happens.
I would listen back to old episodes and just like go, ugh, who's this bitch? What's she going on?
Abby,
I do not agree with her.
Yeah, Abby has said something about what would you say about Mouse? And you know what? Mouse has sold a shitload of books. And I said this before, and I mean it respectfully. This is not something I mean as an insult in any way. Books like Mouse are the graphic novel equivalent of eating your vegetables. And I do not feel something that, like, if you've read Mouse, if you've gone through it, you probably know what I'm talking about. I do not feel something on that level is gonna hit hard enough and fast enough.
The thing is,
be the
like,
breakout.
I feel like books like Mouse are the prose equivalent would be something that is like capital I important.
Yeah.
And
they make you read this for credits.
Yeah, they make you read it for school. So it's not necessarily like the big blockbuster. It is like I feel like there is a market, like adult graphic novels right now. There is a market for quote unquote important books with a capital I.
For sure.
But and so like you have like your Mouses, your Persepholuses. They're not really trying to make those bestsellers. They're doing that to like brag that they are the publisher that puts out important things.
Yeah, with a capital I, the stuff that's about, this is how terrible my life in North Korea was. This is
This
how
is
terrible my life in Iran
we are
was.
serious literature here.
Yeah.
Which is really
Yeah.
frustrating because like there are comics right now, indie and small press and web comics that could easily tap into so many markets that already exist, and like people who would probably be like, I didn't know comics like this existed, I'll read this, and just no one's making the effort to put it in front of them. Like there are fans of like CW shows. There are so many comics that would please them.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
Yeah, so it's like so Mouse is, if we're gonna do it in television terms, is the like serious documentary that then wins awards.
Yeah, it's the Ken Burns thing.
Yeah, and whereas like that makes you look good and like is a feather in your cap as a serious artist or filmmaker, but like, yeah, we need our CW shows. We need our must-see TVs. We need
Well, I don't think I mean more in fact that like there is a type of person who likes a CW show. I'm not that person, but I know what their tastes are, and I know there are comics out there for them. There are the kind of people who like The Walking Dead. There are people who like Game of Thrones. There are comics that exist right now that you could put it in their hands and they'd go, oh shit, I love this. And I don't like those things, but I know there are lots of people who would like those things.
I love that you said there are people who like The Walking Dead, and I'm
you
sure
know what
there
I
are comics.
mean. You know what I mean. But they don't have the comics, and somehow they are ending up in their hands.
The work isn't being done. I think comics as comics as an industry is
sneak up from behind,
damaged from decades of being insular and inward facing and not actively pursuing audiences. One of the things that, and I hate to be all marketing about this, but it's kind of like inescapable and inescapable and unavoidable. Here's the thing. Part of the reason that so many companies go so hard with marketing to like 15 to 25-year-olds, on the surface, it doesn't make a shitload of sense because those people in that age bracket have the least money. So they're going to have the least amount of spending power. So really, on the face of it, those are the people least likely to ever buy what you're trying to sell them, just in raw numbers. That's just a fact. They market to those people nevertheless, and they market harder to those people than anyone else because they are trying to establish a relationship with them. So when they hit their 30s and 40s and they actually have money, they have already developed a brand loyalty and a recognition. So they will now buy your product, and they will buy your product because you were there when they had nothing. Comics spent literal decades not giving a shit about children, not trying to sort of enforce a level of familiarity and brand loyalty, and marketing to the same cohort that was slowly aging out and dying, which is why comics was, for decades, until about, the turn of the 20th century, it was 21st century, excuse me. It was on a stagnant, slowly trending downwards, like just body count. It was getting bad because that readership was constantly shrinking and they weren't working to refresh. And comics is now in that part where it almost has like the opposite problem, where they are engaging millions of children. Scholastic is single-handedly walking into grade schools, setting up booths and going, buy it, it's good for you. And people are buying it because it's books and kids like books. And they are tweaking the brains of all these kids to love comics. And then these kids turn 20 and suddenly there's nothing for them. And it's kind of frustrating seeing the pendulum swing in the other direction. But I have to have faith that in 5 to 10 years, the bone for adult graphic novels will happen. And when it happens, I'll be ready. I'll be here with a back catalog. But even right now, what Kel was talking about with like kids stuff kind of being the focus, like that kind of reflects in Iron Circus sales. We are now publishing, it's going to come out next month, a book called Radium Girls, which is about the Radium Girls. And it kind of has...
My favorite band.
It has all those things that Kel was talking about oh, it's a capital I important book about capital I important things. It's a nonfiction retelling of the Radium Girls and how instrumental they were in establishing, worker safety and laws to protect employees in America and the terrible things that happened to them and the injustice they faced and experienced. And the pre-orders have already outstripped the initial run. So we've got a second run coming because that's where graphic novels are at. Like Banned Book Club was our big darling. We sold tens of thousands of copies of Banned Book Club. I think that's on its third printing at this point because it's an important book and the timing, of course, is important and all that shit. But those are what move at Iron Circus, like in numbers that are kind of invisible, that are under, like people look at the Kickstarters and they would assume that, oh, well, Smut Peddler must be what's bringing in all the cash. Like, no, not really. The dichotomy is bizarre. Like, fucking Student Ambassador, we can't keep that shit in stock. It's like we're having the hardest time. And we're going through this like massive reprint of all our sort of middle grade and under books right now because we can't keep them on the shelves and we're doing all this emergency stuff. But you'd never know that by just like looking at our online presence. There are always people that are like, you guys do stuff that's not porn? Are you kidding? The stuff that's not porn is what keeps us afloat. But yeah, I'm done.
Oh yeah, I think I was about to talk about what I'm actually reading.
Yeah, what are you reading, Amanda?
Mean!
What?
Amanda's mean.
What?
I see you typing.
Oh yeah, I remembered how to change the title.
I have a lot of thoughts about publishing and I have a lot of thoughts about watching comics change. And like there have been multiple times I've been on Twitter and I've characterized it as like someone wished on a monkey's paw that I wish comics were
so
popular.
I think like your thing about there's no place for adult graphic novels. There are places for certain types of graphic novels, like I meant adult graphic novels. Like I mentioned the capital I important, eating your vegetables, this is important literature.
Yeah.
Books. And also, if you're a middle-aged white guy, there's tons of adult graphic novels for you. The problem is that they don't want to sell to any other adults.
Oh yeah, that's been a huge problem.
Because it's like while there's all these like superhero books or like just Image's oeuvre and MO is not for me for the most part. But I would really like it if there were adult graphic novels that were more like what Tor puts out as prose, but just graphic novels. So like we have the more mainstream blockbuster genre fiction, but we don't have like weird genre fiction where people are like getting into their bullshit and thinking about stuff that like is not necessarily quote unquote high literature, but it is like it's sci-fi that is less about like action and more about like thinking about the world, or fantasy stuff where like such and such is a metaphor for whatever.
Yeah, I'm super fascinated and interested in any sci-fi that kind of examines current problems and extrapolates their sort of inevitable conclusions in a futuristic context. I've always been to like there's super hard sci-fi where people get pissy when you include faster than light travel. It's like whatever, who cares? I'm not super into like the tech aspect. I'm more into how will technology change human relationships in the future.
And there is like no publisher that is putting out adult romance graphic novels. My friend Molly loves murder mysteries,
frankly,
and loves romantic comedies. I jokingly told her that she should make a romantic comedy about two detectives trying to solve the same murder.
Have to do? All you would have to do is like make a romance graphic novel, give it a traditional romance cover, slip it onto the shelves. Bam. We did it. We got him, everybody.
We win! Yay!
Yeah, and
It's
it's
so
just
easy.
like, so I jokingly told her like that would be her perfect comic, is two detectives trying to solve the same murder and then they fall in love.
would
But
be
the thing
cute.
is, if you had that as a pitch, where would you send it? And the answer is
Right
there
up
is
your
no
own
publisher
butt.
that would want to look at that right now.
Yeah, I
Why
mean,
don't the romance publishers get on this? There's so much money in it.
yeah, I mean, I'd love to publish more romance.
Not you. I'm not talking about you.
Yeah, I know. I'd love to publish more romance,
I'm
but
talking about Harlequin.
yeah. If Harlequin was smart, Harlequin would have a graphic novel line right now, like straight up. I don't think anyone I
think
speak
they
to or
dabbled a
interact
little,
with.
but it was more as like a collaboration thing. And it's like, no, you guys don't understand. Y'all need to go hard. And it doesn't need to be anime stuff. It needs to be the exact same bodice ripper Highlander bullshit.
Yeah, straight up. Like if they could, it's like if they could afford Ben Dewey or somebody like that, and they could just get Ben to draw like
They don't even need to hire someone like Ben Dewey. They
Really?
just need to have it out there.
Honestly, yeah. I think every time I've seen it attempt at it from like a romance publisher, it's been like some kind of weird collaboration where they're like bringing over like manga, like romance manga, and I'm like, no, you morons, no, just make it about the Scottish Highlands and some ripped Fabio dude and some time traveling lady. That's all you need. You don't just make it just, it's the same. Make the books that you have into graphic novels.
Yeah. You don't even have to rewrite.
They think too hard about it, and then they don't think about it at all. And it's like, no, you don't have to do that much.
Yeah, just straight up do the shit that your audience already expects. Oh, I have been betrothed to the count since I was but a lamb, and now the stable boy is looking very tasty to me. You know, like that shit. That stuff that sells already.
You've never read one.
I have
You've
to.
never.
I have
The
to.
stable boy is looking tasty?
I'm being funny. But yeah, I just like straight up like that level stuff.
Can I just say?
Mhm.
Can I just say?
Go for it.
I read a lot of like romance novels as a kid, and those are gross. I'm not talking about in problematic. I'm talking about genuinely ew. Like, it's like they have to. It's like they, especially when they get to sex scenes. It's like they have to describe so many sex scenes, and they start running out of ways to describe things. So it's like, so they have to like get creative. It's like, please don't be creative. Please stop.
Everything becomes a mound.
My favorite line in any audiobook is I got a bundle of the Sookie Stackhouse Vampires Vampire Mysteries. Like it was $7 to get the first 10 audiobooks. So I grabbed them and listened to them, and she was clearly like, I need to think of new ways to describe sex scenes, but also the narration is first person, so I have to use words that Sookie would use. So there is a moment in one of the books, I think it's the like 5th or 6th book, where she's like, it felt like my hoo-ha was struck by lightning.
Oh God. That's bad.
Oh, dude. My mom, because my mom was trying to make romance novels for a while, I don't remember why she stopped. Probably she just got real busy. That's just how life is. But so she had a lot of resources, like, you know, for writing. She had tons of resources. She had 2 that were my favorites, but for very different reasons. She had a book series called the Whodunit and the Howdunit series, where it's basically like, hey, one of the books is like a guide to poisons. Do you have a character who needs to get poisoned and exhibit very specific symptoms? Here's the convenient poison that'll result in those symptoms. Do you need a character to have amnesia and their foot fell off? We got you. So it's like a way to reverse engineer what poisons you needed, or what stabbing device, the kind of thing like, hey, do you need someone to like get an infection, but like that just makes them kind of like gently fade away and not die on the spot? Okay, here's the one you want. So she had a lot of those. Those were great. Loved those. The ones that I read as probably too young, and not too young in a, oh no, my delicate sensibilities, but in a sort of like, it stuck with me forever, was a book about basically how to write sex scenes. It was specifically written for people who were like, I can't keep just saying nipple. I can't do it. And it was like, call them pearls. Shit like that.
No,
like, so there's an entire, like, page of other things to call nipples, other things to call boners. And it's like, good God. They were all, like, horribly contrived. And it was just like, if I ever hear the word member again.
Oh,
Members the
and
worst.
mounds.
Members
I've
and
noticed
mounds. It's just like, unless you're being real unless you're being real specific, like talk about mounds or some shit, but mound and member. I'd rather you call it a scepter. At least a scepter's fun.
A scepter would be hilarious.
There was a werewolf romance book I read where the
Member.
guy's junk was described as his Mighty Morphin power penis. And that's delightful.
Well, that's just silly. That's fair.
That's perfect,
That's the
actually.
thing. If you just cross over to, you either gotta play it straight or just go for gold.
This is a book series that was called How to Seduce a Naked Werewolf.
Yeah, that's fair.
Of course.
So it knew exactly what it was doing.
Sounds like baby name books, but for poison. I mean, kinda. I mean, she's still. I can go get them. I can go get those books. They're on the shelf right now. They're good books. There's one all about like body trauma. Like if you need someone to get into like, let's say like a accident or something, and you need them to have amnesia. It's like, no, they need to get hit here for amnesia. And it's like, oh, do you need someone to have like an autopsy? But like it needs to reveal something very specific about them. Here's how autopsies work. So I learned how autopsies worked when I was 11 because of this book.
Amanda, please DM me the title and author of that book.
It is like a 6-book series.
Okay, well, let me know.
Here, let me look it up real quick. It's really good.
Ritza, yes, Molly Harper is the author of How to Seduce a Naked Werewolf. There's if you send me the author and title,
I think again, it's a series. I think it has multiple authors. I'm looking it up right now.
Anyway.
Because again, one's about like bodily trauma, one's about causes of death, one's about poisons. It's again, the book's the book. The whole point is like it's a way to reverse engineer. I need this character to have amnesia. What gives people amnesia?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I would like the title and author of the authors of the series, because
here it is.
My friend Molly really likes murder mysteries and wants to write some. So
here I am linking. I'll link you. I have so many things open. Forgive me. I have too many things open. Who has messaged me? So I need to ignore that. Ignore that. Here, Kel. Here's the link. It's the How Done It series. And I will now read to everybody the books. First, this is one we had called Cause of Death, A Writer's Guide to Death, Murder, and Forensic Medicine. Then Deadly Doses, A Writer's Guide to Poisons. Police Procedure, A Writer's Guide to the Police and How They Work. We don't have that one. We do have Armed and Dangerous, A Writer's Guide to Weapons. Scene of the Crime, A Writer's Guide to Crime Scene. We do have that one. We don't have Modus Operandi. We do have Body Trauma. We don't have Amateur Detectives. We don't have Missing Persons or Malicious Intent. Yeah, we don't have anyone of the bottom.
Oh.
But we have a bunch, and yeah, I read these a lot. I know way more about arsenic than I should.
This is actually making me think of like there was. All right, so
here, I'll link the chat. Let me link the chat.
Yeah,
as well.
I occasionally dip into true crime YouTube because it's great background noise. There is a woman who recently went to trial because she wrote a short piece for a blog called How to Murder Your Husband or something. It turned out she murdered her husband. And you read her writing.
I value that kind of real world expertise.
Yeah, I know. It's nice when people write about their lived experiences.
Yeah,
it makes the writing
write
so
what you
authentic.
know, and if you are a murderer.
Yeah, exactly. I love the authenticity of the piece.
So the comic I've been reading recently is a comic that started updating recently again. It is called Preeny Has to Repeat the 6th Grade.
Oh,
It's about
I know about that one.
It's about a cute. I thought it'd be like so murder. So I've been reading a very cute, fluffy comic. But anyway, yeah, no, I have. That's what I was reading recently is Preeny Has to Repeat the Sixth Grade. It's extremely good, and it started updating again. And
Good.
a few other webcomics. Phantom Marine is one I've been keeping up with.
Mm-hmm.
There's other I read a lot of webcomics, but like those are like
Yeah,
the
I
new
have been-
ones.
Yeah,
Or
I've
at
been
least
reading
the
a handful,
relevant ones to
of
recently this
webcomics.
week.
The one webcomic I'm super obsessed with right now is well, there are two, but the one that is easiest for me to read because I think it updates like 90% on Twitter is called What Happens Next. And
Oh yeah, that
it's by,
one.
It's by, for folks who don't know, it's by a cartoonist called Max Graves, spelled like, graves, like holes where you throw bodies, Max Graves. And if
Yeah, that's a grave, a hole where you throw a body. That's what it says in the dictionary.
And it is like the most authentic shit you ever read. It
That's
is
actually
so
why I
like,
can't read it.
yeah, it's like it rings incredibly true. It felt so authentic that it actually made me go and look up a few
Oh, to see if they
who-
weren't basing this off a real thing.
Well, not so much that, but it's the kind of comic I was reading it. I was literally like done with what Max had uploaded at that point, and then I was like, I wonder how Nevada-Ton's doing. And I went and just Googled Nevada-Ton for people who aren't a fucking grandma. Nevada-Ton
Or aren't terrible.
Nevada-Ton
I only
is
know
what
about this because of you.
Nevada-Ton is what Westerners call a Japanese girl who was either 11 or 12 when she killed a classmate with a box cutter for calling her a fat goody-goody in an internet chat room the previous week and then refusing to apologize. Like, she straight up brought a box cutter to school and slit her throat in
Don't want to dwell on this.
disused classroom. And it was over an internet fight. And this was like serious moral panic shit in Japan for a while. And the way that Japanese criminal law and minors works is she was not named. So no one ever actually knew what she looked like or knew her name, but some internet detective types narrowed it down to one class photo, and everyone began to suspect, for whatever reason, that the girl in question was a girl who was wearing a University of Nevada sweatshirt. And Tan is like sort of like a cutesy infantilized way of saying Chan. So everyone started just calling her Nevada.
I thought Tan meant something different.
No, it's just like Chan and baby talk.
Oh, I thought it meant something different.
So yeah, but as far as I know, she got out of jail and maybe she has a new identity. It's like she just kind of, since no one actually knew her name or knew what she looked like or anything, she just kind of melted back into Japanese society after getting out of jail. And I also looked up the Slender Man kids. Like, that one was a fucking weird one. If you don't know about that one, it was 3 girls who were all friends in that way middle school girls can be friends sometimes, where like they're kind of not, but they are. And 2 of them, it's really vague and like genuinely diseased in a way that like how much of this is real and how much of it is in their head, who knew? Like, maybe this was a folie à deux, maybe it was a schizoaffective thing. I don't know. No one seems to know. But 2 of them became convinced if they killed the 3rd, they got to go live with Slender Man in the woods in his mansion.
Super don't want to dwell on child murderers.
Well, they didn't actually kill her.
I'm just saying they attempted.
Yeah,
and
they
we're dwelling
tried.
a lot
But
on this story.
This has relevance to what happens next, which is Max's comic, because it is about
oh yeah, Abby, Heavenly Creatures is why I got my wires crossed as a kid and thought I liked murderers, and oops, actually it's lesbians.
But yeah, it's like that is kind of, I don't know if it's the inspiration. I'm not Max, I can't say, but that is what happens next makes me think of. It's about a very sort of internet age phenomenon where the main character was involved in a murder. They are not the murderer. They were involved in a murder in their youth and spent a significant number of years in a mental health facility. And they are now out of the mental health facility. And kind of the crux of the comic is they kind of refuse to be anonymous or try and go stealth online. Like, everyone knows their Tumblr. Like, they have a Tumblr.
Abby, it wasn't a joke. Genuinely, I got my wires crossed because of 2 different movies and thought I was into murderers because I didn't realize I was gay. I'll
And
explain when
it's-
Spike's done talking.
Yeah, and it's like they have a do not interact if like page, and the do not interact page, do not interact if page has shit like if you think I'm responsible for the deaths of so and so,
I
if you're
do
going
have
to
to
blame
say,
me.
I can't recommend
Yeah.
this comic to a lot of people because a lot of like that involves knowing what that means. They don't explain a lot. It's very much a
Very, yeah.
if you were not there for a certain time of like Tumblr culture, or you're not, a lot of this is you're not going to get the significance of a lot of that or why some of that's weird or funny. So I'm just saying,
Yeah.
if you do get recommended this,
Yeah,
just
it's
know they don't stop to explain anything.
yeah, I think honestly that's part of the authenticity for me. There's a lot of things that just sort of there's a lot of assumed knowledge at play. There's a lot
Abby's
of just sort
laughing
of
at my misfortune.
like they don't ever say do not interact. They say DNI if.
Yeah.
You know, things like and there's like things in the background like long Furby and shit. Where if you're
What's
not
wrong with Long Furby? What's wrong
well,
with Long
the thing is,
What's
you
wrong with
can't
What's wrong with Long Furby,
you can't
Spike?
roll up to the toy store and buy a long Furby. It's something that you kind of have to be into and know about to
Yeah.
have a long Furby.
You have to be on the internet to
Yeah.
know
Yeah,
about it.
Yeah.
exactly. And that
Okay,
kind of
I'm waiting to hear what you say
it's
next about
part
people who
of
have long
the
Furbies.
oh no, it's not like a judgment. It's just sort of
Okay.
telling you who the character is.
Who is it?
Anyone who
Who
has
is?
a long
Who
Furby.
is?
Yeah.
Who is?
Who is? It is a
Yes.
person who is
Yeah.
into toy customization
Yeah.
and is very online.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You're off the hook.
That's what it is.
You're off the hook for now.
But like the
Yeah.
thing is, this kind of leaks, and like a really great aspect of what happens next is this person who refuses to be anonymous online, even after getting out of the psych hospital and going and living with their grandma and having a Tumblr where everyone knows where this Tumblr is. And, like it starts out with people just talking like, I can't believe they have a Tumblr. And it just has their name on it. Like, what the fuck? What's the matter with them? And like, yeah, that's what I think too. And it sort of spills over into real life in a really sort of realistic way because it's not oh and then a team a group of vigilantes who want justice for the murder victims show up at the house and cut the wires and that shit doesn't happen. Like what happens is people start fucking calling grandma's house and like giggling into the phone or heavy breathing into the phone and then hanging up or ordering 15 pizzas to their front door and shit like that, which is that's what the internet does when it decides that you're the main character. It does shit like that. And it's super annoying. And grandma's like, if this shit's going to keep going down, you can't fucking stay here.
Except
and
Grandma's way more chill than that. Which is also
Yeah.
lends to the realism. Grandma's not even like, how could you do? Grandma's just like, this can't keep up.
Yeah, exactly.
You know we can't keep doing this.
It just feels
that's what
super realistic.
Yeah, that's honestly, again, I get secondhand embarrassment really hard, but also like there's certain kinds of suspense where I'm like, I'm out, I can't do this. Like the current development, I jumped off. I'm not going to get specific for anyone who doesn't want to be spoiled, but the new friend that has been made and what's happening in the woods made me go, all right, I'm out. I don't want to read what happens next. I can't do
New
it.
friend is
Can't.
so real. New
Too
friend
real.
is
Can't
such
do this.
a creature of the internet. I know 5 new friends. It's just so like, yeah.
Yeah.
That's literally what would happen right fucking there.
It's
So,
so
yeah, if you
realistic. It's
want
like,
to-
no, I know what happens next. I'm out. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
And again, the company's called What Happens Next. It's by a cartoonist named Max Graves, and this should be easy to find on Twitter. I'm pretty sure that he keeps the I don't want to say without knowing for sure, but I'm pretty sure he keeps the comic in just one Twitter thread, so you can just like click and go. And it's really
I think it's
it is
backed up on a
fucking-
website too. I just can't remember if it's hosted by them or if it is like on a Tapas or Webtoon equivalent. I can't remember, but you can read it in a traditional webcomic format. That's how I read it.
But it's good shit. That's what I've been reading, and it's one of those things where it kind of makes me nostalgic because it was very rare for literal decades. I haven't had that feeling where I saw a webcomic update and I went, ooh, like, oh, right, the date instantly became fucking better. Click.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that with What Happens Next. And it's nice to get that feeling again.
So, Abby, the story about the whole oh, I thought I liked murderers, turns out I'm gay. I've told this story before.
A sentence.
Shush. So, in spite of not seeing a lot of movies, which is like the entire basis of me and Kel's other show, is I have not seen like any movie, I somehow saw Heavenly Creatures, and Monster, the movie about Eileen Wuornos, very close to each other. I don't know why my stepmom decided, yeah, you need to see these, but I got very emotionally attached to them, and I couldn't figure out why. And I was like, I guess I just like murderers. I just feel bad for people who commit murder. So I would like try to seek out other stuff about the same stuff and go, oh, I don't like none of this. None of this is doing it for me. And then years later, when I like came out, I had that moment of like, oh shit, baby me just didn't realize why she liked the thing. It was because of lesbians. I got sad when the lesbians got separated both times.
I bet there's some confused preteen out there right now having the exact same feelings while watching Killing Eve. Do I
haven't
like
seen
murderers?
Killing Eve.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
It's about a psycho murderer lady.
Mhm.
And the I think she's an FBI agent. She's some sort of law enforcement that's after the psycho murderer lady. But then psycho murderer lady seduces the detective that's after her.
But yeah, that's why I was like, when I finally was like, oh, I like girls. It was like, oh, that's why those two movies made me cry. Not because I like don't think the murderer shouldn't have got caught. It's because I didn't like the lesbians being separated. Oh.
If you folks are not familiar with the story Heavenly Creatures is based on, I strongly suggest like finding a documentary about it because it's fucking wild.
I mean, I don't think technically they were all lesbians, but that is how my brain absorbed this media and made me think I liked murder when I really, really don't, it turns out.
It actually has parallels, in my opinion, with the Slenderman kids. I really think so.
Oh, my rats are
fucking
singing their water bottle
But
songs.
puberty does shit to your brain, man.
Yeah, as I just demonstrated. I sought out some weird shit.
Yeah.
Like, if I had just known, it's like, oh, no, honey, sweetie, baby, you just think girls are hot. I'm like, if someone had just told me that, it would have saved me so much, like, grief and weird, like, rabbit holes I fell down.
Even, but honestly, it's like, in my case, even, there was no, like, grief or confusion or anything. It's just, I was really fucking stupid when I was going through puberty. And I think it's super important everyone here understand I am extremely fucking basic. And when I say basic, I mean fell in love with rock stars basic. Like, that's how it was. So I was developing, and you're all gonna be like, fuck, and just like leave. But like, I was developing obsessive preoccupations with one Kurt Cobain and two Lenny Kravitz when I was in like late middle school and all throughout high school and part of college. And it's like, I could not actually characterize it in my brain as romantic attraction. I just really, 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 really like them. They're just really, 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 really talented, you guys. Just like, you're so fucking weird. What's wrong with you? But you know, it's a new experience.
Personal growth is being able to stand across the room from little you and go, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, it's just,
why did you do that?
It's your first time experiencing romantic attraction. And I think part of the reason people really like first love stories in fiction is because there's that period where it's like, what the fuck? What the fuck? You know,
that's why I thought it would be a funny thing to pitch, and I'm kind of slowly, because it's like, I'm slowly turning all my comic ideas into pitches and throw all the spaghetti at the wall kind of thing. Like, do you think...
Huh? Can I have the witches, Amanda? Amanda, can I have the witches?
I'm doing a comic for you. Are you gonna like pay me?
I want another comic.
Are you gonna pay me 5 times as much what I'm paid now? Then yes, I will do 2 comics for you.
Yeah, I want the witches.
If you don't do that, you're gonna get them one at a time.
Okay.
Pony up the money, and I'll do 2 comics at once. Until then, shh.
I think about the dudes I thought were attractive when I was a dumb teenager.
Okay.
And in media, it's interesting because since you are older than me, Spike.
Yes.
There is a certain type of grungy dude that was.
I love filthy nasty dudes. I love grungy
that came
nasty.
out when you were a teen, and by the time I was a teen, clearly some people were like, this grungy guy that is presented as hot in all this media is not a good partner. So I had like, so all the media that came out when I was a teen is like, here's a dude that you think is attractive, Kel, and now we're going to tell you that he's unreliable and you shouldn't trust him. And he's going to steal all your things. And when I was people talking about their first like cartoon crush, mine was Trent from Daria. And if you've seen Daria, you know Trent is presented and then it's immediately like, but he will not be reliable. He is shitty and you should kick him to the curb.
Yes. Oh my god.
That is the plot of Daria has a crush on this guy. He is the worst guy.
He does not deserve Daria's attention.
I feel like your first cartoon crush says a lot about you, and I know y'all know mine.
Which one was yours again?
How dare you? I've mentioned this about 100 times.
Who?
Chat, y'all know.
Mim.
Yes,
Madam
thank you,
Mim
Kel. Madam Mim.
Madam Mim? Really?
Yeah.
The Mad Madam Mim?
The Sword in the Stone.
Yes.
Whoa. No. Oh my god, if you told me, I've forgotten.
I tweeted it.
No shit.
That was my first cartoon crush. I thought she was cool as an old lady, then she turned into like a younger, like curvier lady, and I like was like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
It was magic. It didn't count. It was fake.
No, it was real to me. And ever since, there's been a through line with a lot of my, like, the ladies I write, like, wow, a lot of them turn into dragons. A lot of them turn into dragons, Amanda. Weird.
So how do you feel about that dragon in Shrek?
She's hot.
No, the one who married Donkey.
I just said she's hot. I
like
said the dragon that married Donkey is hot. I think you tried to pull one over on me because, no, she's hot.
I remember
if she could turn into a human woman, that would be extra hot.
It's like every time I think to myself, okay, that was my earliest cartoon crush, I remember something earlier. I'm like, oh no, it was that one. Oh no, it was that one. So for a long time, I was telling everyone my first one was Disney's Tarzan. And I told people that because I believed it, because I didn't remember. But then I thought harder, and I was like, no, you know who it was.
Who was it? Tell me.
It was Max Sterling from Robotech. I liked Max Sterling from Robotech a lot and didn't realize at the time why.
I don't know who that is.
If you look him up, he has blue, longish hair past his shoulders, and he has glasses.
Max Sterling.
Yeah. And he has like cyan hair, and he's like he's a mechanical genius, and he's all fragile.
He always has a strand of hair. Does he? He always has a strand of hair in front of his face.
Yes, ma'am.
Always.
Yes, he does.
Oh no, that is a through line through all your crushes. Oh no, that continues to the present.
And I thought Max was the first for a while, and I was all like, okay, yeah, I guess I was wrong.
Thank you, chat. Thank you. Chat's like, of course she's hot. She's a dragon. Thank you.
And then I remembered just out of the clear blue sky one day, no, it wasn't Max first, I don't think. Because
oh my god,
if I'm doing it properly and I'm like saying, okay, I saw this first and then I saw this, I think the very, very first was Moose from Ranma 1/2. And that one, that's just inexplicable to me. I don't know.
No, I get it.
No, it's like he's barely there.
I still get it.
Oh,
I get it.
And by the way, if anyone wants to like frantically Google for pictures of these fucking cartoons, it's Moose, like hair mousse.
Yeah.
It was a play on the fact
like
that
shampoo.
he was obsessed with a girl named Shampoo, so he was Moose, and manga naming conventions.
Well, no, very specific manga naming conventions.
Yeah, very specific manga naming conventions. But yeah, so those are my cartoon crushes.
I judge you, Abby. I judge you. Oh wait, no. Actually, no. That makes complete sense. Never mind. It makes complete sense. Abby liked James from Pokemon. I didn't make. I was at first
Although
like.
now, honestly,
that's bad. But I'm like, oh wait, no. I know who Abby likes now. Never mind. It makes complete sense.
Whereas nowadays, if anyone out there is listening, and anyone out there has on their bucket list, get porno published by Iron Circus.
No. No.
If you want to take
No.
Kaneda and Tetsuo
No.
from Akira and file
No.
the serial numbers
No.
off,
No.
and just have it be about Bosazoku dudes who are up one another, I am totally into it. I will happily publish that.
If I see one more vanity project with your disgusting dudes.
It's my publisher. I get to do what I want.
Anyway, I still like gross, scruffy dudes.
They're the best. That's why you like them, because they're the best.
Well, Spike, every time I have presented with you a gross, scruffy dude that I had a crush on as a teenager, you went ew. So
okay, like who?
Like I said, Trent earlier, and
okay,
you
Trent
said,
is
"Oh
you.
no."
Yeah, Trent is kind of garbage.
Again, we do have to bring up the fact Spike's older than Kel.
Yeah, so I was watching Daria with like 9.5 years on you. So I had 9.5 years.
Spike has biases now.
The show told me he was garbage. I know that he is a garbage person that cannot be trusted or relied on. Like, I also watched the show. It is textual. Like, they kind of beat you over the head with it.
Sure. Yeah,
wait,
Daria wasn't
Spike
subtle
loves,
about that.
Spike loves stupid bastards.
I don't like that's stupid bastards.
Don't you dare.
I like just no. Here's the thing, Amanda.
The amount of times you've slid a dude my way and be like, "Oh, what do you think?" And I'm like, "Bleh."
No, you are the artist, right? So you get my scripts for Iris and Angel. And you know
is a very different dude than the ones you show me.
Specific about how Angel looks, and I'm very like, okay, here's the thing: he's fucking hairy, and he's got sweatshirts where he has ripped the cuffs.
That is not what I'm talking about. 100%.
I like them when they fucking no one ever taught him to shave properly. So
no. You are misinterpreting. I am not talking about their appearance. Angel is a lovely, lovely creature.
He is.
I'm talking about the genuine trash boys who are bad people. Genuine trash boys. Yes, who are bad people. And make bad decisions, and you love that about them. You adore that aspect of them, and you were like, "Oh, Amanda, don't you think this is hot?" I'm like, "No, I want this guy to get his shit together. I want him to clean his bedroom."
I love the genuine trash boy.
You do. You love the, and that's fine, but you refuse to admit it every single time this conversation. You can love your trash boys, but just admit they're trash boys.
And also, Spike. You poo-pooed the fact that as a teenager, Gambit was my favorite X-Men.
Yeah, well, Gambit is kind of a fuckboy, not a trash boy.
He is also a trash boy. He is a trash fuckboy, and that is my type.
Here's the thing, though. Like, my big thing with Gambit, and I think I've told you this before, is the worst kind of fucking dude to deal with is the guy who knows he's hot. So he like walks into the room and he's like, "Hey, everybody!"
I fucking love it.
I hate it. Ooh, I hate it. Just the hair flip and the purposely looking you in the eyes and biting the lower lip, and then it's like, "Fuck off!"
No, that's doing it. Good.
Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible. You can get fucked. No. I like the little shy boys who can't like clean themselves, so they have like
no, they can go away.
I like a lady.
The cute shy boys with like 5 days of beard growth who won't make eye contact.
I don't know where this came from, but now when I see a couple on TV, my favorite dynamic can best be described of they're fighting for who gets to be on top.
My favorite dynamic is one of them is a 10 to 20 foot tall lady and the other is me.
My favorite dynamic is there are dudes in this world. And I don't think I'm ruffling any feathers by saying this, but there are dudes in this world.
My favorite kind of dude is a dude in this world.
No, who it's hard to describe, and this is certainly not exclusive to dudes, but dudes are what I'm into. So, but there are dudes in this world who they give off this aura of what, as a teenager and now as an adult, I still describe as chase me around the parking lot, push me over, and sit on me. And it's really difficult to describe how you know who gives this aura off, but there are dudes who do. It's hard to articulate how you know, but you know.
Man, this episode got horny.
Yeah.
This
like,
is why we. This is
so-
actually why we structured
Yeah.
the previous podcast to avoid getting horny,
Horny.
because it
Look, I
always
just, like-
happens.
I just
So-
like it's like I don't like sort of like the like really formalized, I hate to say this shit, like commercialized kind of, ooh, here's me in a black bustier cracking a whip. Like, fuck that shit. I just like a dude who's like, okay, cool, you're in charge. I'll do whatever you say. It's kind of cool that you're in charge. I like that. Like, that's my dude.
I hate
No,
that you called that
so,
commercialized. How dare you?
Something that's innate instead of performance.
I find that dude boring.
I love that dude.
Okay, Kel wants to be swept off their feet by a guy who's genuinely cool.
I
I
want to fight. That's what I said.
I just want to fucking punch a dude in the face.
Oh.
Because it was, like I said, people fighting for who gets to be on top.
Okay. You like competition.
Yes.
Spike likes submission.
Yes.
Oh no, I figured it out. Kel likes a guy that looks at him and is like, I think I could take you. I think you'd be a fair fight. Okay, let's go. Spike wants someone that looks at her and goes, oh, I know I can't win, and lies down.
Yes.
I figured
That's
it out.
exactly it.
That is not incorrect.
But so Netflix Daredevil show is not a good show. But Daredevil and Elektra are fucking hot in that show. I was like, can we take these two actors and put them in a better written movie, but keep this dynamic? Because
I've seen this one.
I want to be the softball special. I want to be picked up and thrown over a wall.
I thought that was is it the softball special? Which one is that? I know what you're talking about, where the Colossus picks up Wolverine in this.
That is the fastball special, and that's not what Amanda's referring to, because Amanda does not know X-Men things.
I don't know X-Men shit.
Okay.
I think I'm making a Monster Factory joke, honestly.
Oh, okay.
But all I know is throw me over a wall. We're good. That's it.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, we have a beautiful spectrum here.
Yeah.
Of what we want from partners, and it's all valid. It's all valid.
You just grab by the wrist and the ankle, swing around, poof, over the wall.
Yeah. Just as an illustration of the kind of person I am, kind of from top to bottom, for various reasons we will not get into, because I had to work with an accountant I was unfamiliar with recently. And for a while, I was like very much in the dark about what was going on. And I had to basically ask 3 different people, including my old accountant, hey, what is going on? Because I'm not being told anything. What had happened, and I am not exaggerating at all, what had happened was the accountant I was working with, who only spoke to me and only had my contact information, literally just my private email, my phone number, contact information, had gone through the trouble of finding my husband's contact information.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that's right.
And sending everything to him instead. And I fucking, I had the closest thing to a silent tantrum that a fucking mid-40s ass woman could have. I was actually just the red mist was descending. I was so fucking angry about that. I actually had to give myself a several hours long time out before I sent any emails after that, because I was that fucking angry about it. But that's kind of who I am. I'm just I'm in charge, and I am married to a man who likes that I'm in charge and wants me in charge. You know, he doesn't want to. He literally
Let's not talk about Matt like he's
no,
leave him
this is
alone.
him.
I know.
I love
but he's a
this
third
about
party.
him.
Leave him alone.
He is, and he's a wonderful human being, and he's the
I
best man I
love
could have
him
ever asked
too.
for.
I'm saying this is personal shit.
Yeah, and he just, it's he didn't know what to do with any of this shit he was sent, because this isn't his domain. And it was literally more work to find him than just send it to me. And it was just, just
yeah. No, your reason for being pissed was legit.
It's just It fucking got me so hard. But yeah. Like, I hadn't been that
Phrasing.
I hadn't been. Oh, right. It got me. Not whoopsie. No, it's like, you're actually, you can feel the rationality in your brain just fucking dissolving like jello on a griddle when that happens. It's just like, "Damn." But yeah. Anyway, that's who I am. That's who you're talking to. And I don't think that was unreasonable to get angry about.
No. But, like, I think it's indicative of the thing, like, everyone's got their buttons, and you're just like,
yeah,
you can't,
that was my button.
Your button is, oh, you're the woman half, you can't possibly be in charge.
Yeah, and again, it was only my info they had.
I think if that had happened to me, I would have just been like, okay.
Yeah.
Or
other people would have been like, haha, roll eyes, get on with life. But that was not me.
No, I would have fired them.
Well, they're not working for me anymore, so
I probably would have been like, am I okay to be mad about this? Somebody tell me. I mean, really, think about how often something genuinely bad happens, and I'm like, am I right to be mad? And then everyone's like, yeah, 100%. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go be mad now, bye.
Yeah. But yeah. Anyway. I will not turn this into another Matt is Wonderful and Perfect story.
Oh, you can do a Matt is Wonderful. I just don't think you should, like, talk about, like, I don't know.
He wants to get stepped on.
Yeah, don't say that.
A lot of these stepped on.
Don't talk about whether he does or doesn't. He's not here.
Oh. Okay,
it's a mystery.
Enough.
Let that be a mystery.
To remain a mystery, Spike.
Okay, the only objective thing that we can talk about is that Gambit sucks.
I can't comment on that. I can't comment on that. I've never experienced him.
And Nightcrawler's better.
The only thing that I want to write for Marvel is if they said, Cal, if we could let you do anything that you want, I would be like, so, new graphic novel that is pornographic, titled Gambit Fucks the Marvel Universe.
Oh god! See, the thing is, that would spell like fucking
it's
gangbusters.
Just Gambit fucking and seducing as many people as possible.
That's why it was like weird when like DC did that DC Blackline. It was just they didn't do anything fun with it. It was just there's a penis in
is
this.
Is that the one where like was that
you
the one
could
where we
see
all saw Batman's dick
pee-pee.
and everyone like lost their mind?
Everyone saw
it was
Batman's
very
dick.
dumb because
it wasn't even hard. It was just like a little dick.
It was
just like in shadow.
There. It was just there.
Yeah. It was barely there.
It was there, and it was just like, that's it. That's the heat you're bringing. Okay.
And the only reason, I would title it Gambit Fucks the Marvel Universe because they've done Longshot Saves the Marvel Universe and they've done Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe. So clearly,
I'm sorry, I'm
Gambit
still caught up on the
Marvel
DC
Universe.
Blackline thing where like again they did this is like an adult R-rated series, but it's like they have had PG-13 comics where clothed people were basically doing it. They were basically doing it. Like the only reason you knew they had like clothes is because they had like colors like purple and green on them. But otherwise, they were naked and, like, rolling around on a rooftop. And it's like, come on.
Yeah, wasn't that... Didn't they have, like, some whole big thing where it was basically fanfic level where, like, Batman was fucking Catwoman on a roof?
Multiple times. Yes. Multiple instances
like,
of that.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, whatever.
Enough, like, it's like a thing.
Yeah.
And then,
like, all you had to do is get those old, like, art files. Just, like, do them skin tone instead of their costume tone and bam.
Yeah, and they're practically just... naked anyway, just colored blue.
And then the animated adaptation of The Killing Joke has Batman fuck Batgirl on a roof. So
that's the only place he can get it up.
People on road.
It's the only place he can do it.
It's the opposite of Fear of Heights. He can only get it up if he's like 50 stories or higher.
Man, can I just say, anime ruined my brain because of roofs. Because like. So many, like, in a lot of anime, but this is like because of the way, like, buildings are built and, like you can actually go onto roofs, and there's a lot of tall buildings, and this isn't just a Japan thing, this is, like, a lot of, like, and this is even not just an anime thing, but this is, like, a media in general. A lot of media takes place in, like, really famous cities that are really built up and big. When I was writing Starry Night, I kept, like, writing things on, like, building tops and stuff. But then I was like, oh yeah, I'm setting it in Texas. I'm like, oh shit, we don't have those. Like, we've got a few skyscrapers, but we don't have, like, if you're on the rooftop, everyone can see you. The buildings are not, like, tall, and everything's really flat. So it's like, if you're having a fight on the roof, it's like, hi, Steve, what are you doing up there? It's like, fighting an alien. Like, okay.
As one does.
So it's like, I had to, like, rewrite the whole comic, because, like, I'm like, oh, I can't have fights on rooftops. I have been lied to, but media has corrupted my brain. Anime and superhero media has ruined my brain, because it's like, oh, wait, I decided it was going to be Texas. Shit.
Oh, yeah. This makes
We're
me
gonna
think about...
fight in a cornfield now.
Yeah, it was like a personal essay an African author wrote about having to decolonize her own writing, because all of the writing that she was assigned in school, and she she was like an older woman, so all the writing she had been assigned in school had been by English authors, because the country she was from, I think, had been colonized by England, and so that was what was considered, the school curricula. The necessary reading was all English authors. And when the time came for her to be like, I'm going to start writing fiction, she'd sit down and she'd write, and then she'd be all like, why the fuck am I having these people act this way and say these things? These are things that do not happen in Africa. It's like, these are things that happen in the English countryside, not the African countryside. I know what happens in the African countryside. I've lived in the African countryside, but I'm not putting that in my writing, because it's just, I'm fucking regurgitating, and I need to literally stop and interrogate my decisions.
It's so weird, the stuff that, like, you take for granted until then you're like, wait a second. I am, like, having these characters have a conversation in a building that would never exist near them.
Yeah.
One of the things that's a part of my language now, I guess.
Yeah. One of the things she would talk about is how the characters in her initial writing and the text in her initial writing would discuss the weather. And these are her words, not mine, so she would know, not I. But she was saying things like, why the fuck are they discussing the weather? I live in a literal equatorial country. The weather is always the same. There are no seasons. So it's just like, people in the fucking in the village I grew up, they didn't fucking talk about the weather.
I'm just imagining you just walking into, like, a building going, oh, nice weather we're having, and the other person whips around like, what the fuck did you just say to me? Say that again.
Everyone in the room. It's like that one image of, like, all the frat girls at the party turning, and all the sorority girls at the party turning and looking at you with, like, a sneer on their face. Beautiful weather we're having. Yeah, but
well, now they're having fights under bridges.
And actually,
but not the pretty bridges, the kind that cars drive over.
I am thinking about it, and I have decided I can safely say a few things without radically demotivating myself with regards to my Pillow Fort comic, in that a lot of the decisions that are made in there...
You need to give that a title and stop calling it your Pillow Fort comic.
The problem is, that's the hardest part for me.
It's not.
I don't... It is. I can't think of titles for... Why do you think it's fucking called Iris and Angel?
That's a title. That's all that matters.
No, it's just, I can't think of anything.
Shitty Murder. You just have to... Look, you do like me. You commit to something, and that's it. That's how Titty Time got named. I just was like... I made a joke, and everyone was like, that's great. Do that. I'm like, oh, no. And that's it. That's history. Love Me Nice. I took that title from a song. It's the Witch Doctor song.
Witch Doctor song.
Yeah.
But, like...
Lots of comics of mine, I just settled, and everyone just didn't notice that it was a bad idea.
There is... But, like, the thing with Blacada is there are some obvious aesthetic things going on there.
Is that the title?
Oh. That's what the title was, like, 15 years ago.
Why can't that be the title?
Because it doesn't mean anything now, because everything about the comics changed.
I'm just saying, it'll be easier to talk about and have people find it if you don't say Pillow Fort comic.
Okay, Blacada then.
Blacada.
For now.
Spell it.
Blikada.
Blikada.
Blacada.
There. That's the title. You have to stick with it. I'm sorry.
I've
named your comic.
No. But there are obvious aesthetic choices I am making in that comic that anyone who knows will recognize as kind of turn of the century, in the 20th century, that is, turn of the century, like, mid-Asian, Cossack, what far West Russian kind of aesthetics. And, that is a conscious decision I have made, but it's one of many conscious decisions I've made after interrogating them thoroughly because I don't want to be that person who just like writes without thinking, like an unconsidered work of fiction
You don't gotta
can.
call me out every single time we talk about this.
No, it's just super important to me because I know people are going to be expecting it to go a certain way because of if they understand how the characters look, they're probably going to develop some expectations. And I want to make sure that this sounds weird. I don't want them to ever be comfortable with what they think is going to happen? I like the aesthetics and I like that geography and I like that period of history because I think there's a lot of interesting stuff going on there. But at the same time, I'm not interested in, Tolkiening this and just sort of putting pointed ears on everyone and retelling a story.
That's kind of while working on the city between, I try to like be deliberate with what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's important.
Nah.
Even though sometimes the reason a thing looks the way it does is simply I think that looks neat.
Yeah.
But
Make everybody furries. It solves everything.
Well, if you think that looks neat, go for it.
Cause I tweeted this on Wednesday, cause I'm gonna try to get in the habit of tweeting world building-y behind the scenes shit.
Oh, I wish I could do that.
The city has layers to it. There's like an outside elevated sidewalk thing every 5 stories. And that's because since it's a futuristic city, but there's also supernatural shenanigans, that makes it easier for vampires to sneak around. The sunlight isn't getting to the bottom level of the city.
Sure.
And then the other reason is that way I don't got to drop cars in a lot of the scenes because they're 10 stories up. So no
one needs a car 10 stories in the air.
Yeah. And everyone takes public transit, which is free transportation in their world on the top level of the city. So a lot of people don't even go down to the bottom level of the city. Because why would they? So I just had fun drawing like these giant pipes out that are the support beams for the sidewalks. And I think it gives it a really cool look.
Yeah, I mean, I think an important part of doing your comic, if it's this passion project, is you're not on payroll to anyone and you have a certain number of pages to turn in, so it can be published somewhere. If you have to still be interested in drawing it, you have to include shit you think is fun just so the work gets done. So you don't get hung up on these pages. You're like, fuck.
That's why for my Purima pitch, I contrived a way that I'd never have to draw, because it's all like talking animal people, but I don't like drawing reptile mouths or beaks. So
okay,
only mammals. And the way I have justified that is that the plot has this thing where basically the world kind of resets periodically, which is a bad thing, and it tries to like scramble pieces back together to make sense of it. And sometimes it has weird stuff happen, like all no more humans, everyone's animals now, I guess. And
have you ever played Mass Effect?
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway, the current iteration of the world, so all the mammals became like talking people, like humans in place of the humans, but that means they left a lot of ecological niches, so all the archosaurs expanded to fill those niches. So chickens are still where chickens are, but all the previous birds and lizards are still there, but now you also have previously extinct dinosaurs where cows would be and stuff. That also lets me get around why do they does a cow person eat a cat hamburger? Is it a cow too? Or if you're a dog person and you have a pet dog, no, the dog person has a pet triceratops. That's the answer.
Fair enough.
So now I get to draw lots of cute animal people but they're all mammals and they all have pet dinosaurs. The end.
Yeah. I want to fucking talk about how like totally cray the fucking like a certain geological and time period of not geological, excuse me, geographic and time span is in a certain part of the world, but I have no fucking interest in being held to the actual timeline and what actually happened.
Okay, I'll be right
just, like,
back. I'm
super-
picking up a rag. Ignore me.
Yeah, no problem. I'm just super like that. As an American, we learn basically fucking nothing in history class except unless stuff that basically pertains directly to America. Like we, in case you folks don't know, we stopped learning about any other country after the United States gets founded. And then, like, you know, the Revolutionary War is over. We literally stop hearing about England until World War II. Like, we don't even do World War
That's not
One.
true. We hear a little bit about they were fighting with France, which is why France sold us land.
I did not even hear that.
Okay, I'm
honestly.
back.
I just heard. Then the Louisiana Purchase happened, and like that's all I fucking heard.
No.
So
then I guess my school system was better because like we were like, well, France was broke because they were fighting with England. And that's why they told us Louisiana.
No, we literally, you want to know the fucking truth? We did the Revolutionary War. We did the end of the Revolutionary War. Then we skipped, in great detail, I mean, like, you know, and then we skipped straight. We didn't even do War of 1812. We skipped straight to Civil War. And then we skipped straight to World War II. And then we did Civil Rights Movement. And then that was like American history. Like that's what we learned. So if you want to learn,
my school system was better than yours because
I mean, entirely possible. I went to public school in Maryland, so it's not like it was like overwhelmed with bigotry or craziness or anything. But that's what I learned. And admittedly, I wasn't in AP history. Maybe that would have been different. But that's
no,
what I learned.
I didn't have the patience for AP history. I was like, that seems like a lot of work, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's like if you want to learn pretty much anything about anything else, you kind of need to do it under your own steam in the US, like especially about like other countries. And say what?
Did you read the Upton Sinclair's The Jungle in high school?
I did not read The Jungle until I was in my 20s and I got a library card.
Oh, okay. Well, that's again like our history class had us.
Yeah, we read To Kill a Mockingbird though. So
I mean, we read that too.
But yeah, I found out a bunch of stuff. Like it started off with me just sort of like reading shit about the October Revolution and Lenin and Stalin and the Romanovs and oh wow, everybody, all the royal houses of England are all related. Let's go back a little farther to Peter the Great and the Europeanization of Russia and oh, what's dekulakization and what's this and what's that and you know just basically. Like, long story short, Russia has literally always been fucked in every way. And it's just sort of the flavor of fucked has changed over the thousands of years.
I recently watched a YouTuber I like, Mia Mulder, just did a video about a conspiracy theory in Russia that is trying to claim that everything important that happened in history was done by Russia.
Oh my god.
All history that says that Russia got dicked over repeatedly, those are all lies to besmirch Russia.
Oh, that is so bizarre because Russia does get dicked over like all the time. And when I talk about Russia, I'm not talking about Putin. I know there's this whole thing right now where Russia and Putin are the same thing. No, I am talking about the people that live in the geographic area we call Russia.
Yeah. So it's all like, I'm going to send you this video because it sounds like a thing
Please do. It sounds hilarious.
Because it's basically like, she titles it as, it's the conspiracy theory that no one in the Western world knows about because it is like specifically a Russian conspiracy theory.
It is provably and categorically incorrect. It sounds delightful. It sounds flat Earth level. Because it's like
they're like the history where Russia keeps failing and getting dicked over. That's lies or propaganda by the Catholic Church, and we're awesome, and we've always been awesome, and we're responsible for the Roman Empire.
Oh my god!
The Mongol invasion, like that, those were actually Russians.
Oh my
Like,
god. That is so fucking wild. I love the sound of this.
claim that like everything cool that happened in ancient history was done by Russians, except building the pyramids.
I'm glad they
That was, like,
exercised
a step
some
too far.
restraint. I'm glad
Yeah,
they
I think
exercised
that
some
was
restraint.
like, they're like, that was a step too far. We'll
That
stop
they
there.
could not do. Not that. Not. But like seriously, it's all about like you go through Russian history and it's like, okay, who's fucking ripping Russia to shreds today? Like, is it the Mongols? Is it the Golden Horde ripping Russia to shreds? Is it fucking, all these other countries ripping Russia to shreds? Is it Russia ripping itself to shreds like a mad raccoon mutilating its own tail? It's like that is like the story of Russia. It's absolutely bizarre and bonkers and amazing. And I'm super into it partially because like okay, America is a pretty big country. It's not the biggest, but it's big. And it is a relatively, in the sense that it is the United States of America, a relatively new country. 200 years ain't shit. Russia is incredibly old, has a lot of recorded history that we know about, and it is incredibly huge and full of people who don't know shit about each other at all, and never did. Yet they are all under the same banner as like Russian. And if you think like America has these weird issues with like people just not even recognizing one another as being in the same country as them, you should fucking check out Russia because holy fuck. Anyway,
I don't think I
Russia's
will.
interesting. No, it's super fascinating. Like there is this
No.
city that is like the coldest city on earth. Oh
I'm
God, let me.
good.
I think you would actually like these videos because I've been
Oh, I'm
watching
sure I
them.
like these videos, but I don't. I'm just like right now. I'm like, okay.
Okay. The coldest city on Earth is called Yak Yakutsk, and it's spelled Yakutsk. It is in the Russian Federation, and it's like why do you live there? It's kind of it's kind of where I'm at, where it's like a day. All right, imagine a city where it gets so fucking cold that all of the water pipes that just transfer water around the city, they all have to be above ground all the time because the ground is literally never not frozen. So we're just going from building to building, and alongside the street are all the water pipes, and they burst regularly. So just these massive, like frozen Niagara Falls looking things are always hanging off the sides of them. Imagine living in a town so cold that when you park your car to go like shopping, you have to put a giant tarp that has sort of like a toggle at the bottom so you can cinch it tight over your entire car, and it has a heater in it because you can't leave your car for half an hour in the cold or it won't start again. Like that's how cold this place is. And the open air market, everything in it, the fish, the meat, everything is just like on a table because it's negative 71 fucking degrees out. So nobody needs to refrigerate anything. It's a nightmare world, and these people are like, whatever. It's cool.
Yeah.
You should look up Yakutsk.
So I put the Mia Mulder video in the chat, and I also sent it to you direct in our chat, Spike.
Thank
so
you.
you can watch it later, and learn about this conspiracy theory.
I will. I'm super into this idea that Russia kind of rocks itself to sleep with actually we're amazing stories. Because it's so fucking, it's like you understand perfectly why this would catch on. You understand perfectly. Hello, all. Natalie H is saying hi. Hello.
But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed the video. I thought it was like, this is wild, and I kind of love it.
It sounds amazing. I'm super into the idea already.
So, a thing that I've been
Okay, I'll be
thinking
right
about
back.
for the city between.
My rats emptied their water bottle during this call.
A thing I've been thinking about for the city between is, so in a lot of fiction, especially if it's fiction that is sci-fi or supernatural, if a conspiracy theorist shows up, like usually like while they are presented as a joke, they are then eventually proven right.
Yeah.
And I think that that's bullshit.
Yeah, I think that's bullshit too.
So what I've been trying to do, though, is since The City Between takes place in a futuristic, like, modern setting, there would be conspiracy theorists. But I want them to have theories that the audience knows are wrong.
Okay, I'm back.
Welcome.
I was tending to rats.
So like, whatever, like, stuff that they're gonna go on about, like, I want also the story to have, like, no, reader, here is the truth, and that person is just over there. They're far away from the truth.
Yeah. Frankly, I think, God, it's like, I'm going to say some shit that's going to get me in trouble. I don't know. But I think there is not enough in media where the crackpot is proven to be a fucking crackpot. Like, I'm kind of over media where there's a team of 50 scientists with, you know, decades of study and experience behind them. And then some rando rolls in off the streets and goes, "You've got it all wrong!" And the scientists go, "Pew, pew." And then an hour into the film, the crackpot has proven to be right in every single way. I strongly believe media like that has had a hand in changing the general public's opinion towards science and scientific progress in the past 50 years. I really do.
Yeah. And so that's why
I think that's a bit much, personally.
I strongly believe it.
I think people know it's. I do. I know.
I
think
don't.
most people know it's fantasy. I think most people.
No.
I don't think it has had the effect you're attributing to
I
it. I
do.
disagree. I'm sorry.
We have gone from something caused, and this is specifically an American phenomenon.
But
I can't. Speak for other
that's a
countries.
trope that's been happening for an extremely long time and across lots of media.
In the 50s and 60s, we have gone from science is good and we like science and hooray for science and look at all the amazing things science has done, to now, like, your Aunt Agatha on Facebook saying people who have been working in, you know, certain spaces for 40 years don't know what they're talking about. I think the volume is new.
The volume of people is more. I mean, I don't think that's results of media. I think they've been
empowered by these narratives where the crackpot has been right.
I disagree.
I really do. They compare themselves to film all the time. That is not an accident.
Yeah, but it's not I don't think the film existing did it. This would have happened without the films. I strongly believe that.
I think it's more what happens, Spike, is because they can find each other, they can feed off each other.
That's more what it is. I think it's people being connected. But, like, we had these kind of conspiracy people before. We had people not, like, believing in science before. It's just there were less people. We didn't have printing presses for a long time. Like, sharing publications was hard, but those people still existed.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. But at the same time, like, I follow certain subreddits, and there is a joke that goes around them that's basically like, "Oh, they said it's just like fictional film here. Everybody do a shot." And that is kind of difficult to ignore.
That's just because they're not literate. Like, not like, I don't mean not in the, they can read and write. I don't think they're any kind.
I agree with you.
But I don't think that the media has causes. I think that's just the only, like, things they have to reference.
I think I'm not going to say the media causes it. I'm going to say the media empowers the mindset.
I don't believe that either. No,
I'm sorry. This is a thing I am not going to back down.
I don't agree, because that's a trope that's existed in fiction for a very long time. And there's lots of old political cartoons about these kind of people. This is not new. It's just not. And I think
I'm not saying it's new. I'm just saying that
I just don't think that the media of the crackpot being right is indicative of shit. I just don't think it's indicative of shit. It makes sense. I think it makes complete sense those people like that. But I don't think it existing resulted in more of those people or empowered them in any way.
To be fair, this might be one of those chicken or egg things. Like, is it showing up more in media because it's more common sentiment, or is it a more common sentiment than it's showing up?
I think it's just a more interesting narrative.
I think that's part of it, and I think the fact that it's an interesting narrative.
Nobody wants to watch a movie. It's like the scientists are right and they got it under control. Movie over.
See, the thing is, that used to be movies, though.
Not all of them. Even I
Not
know
all, no,
that.
well, never all of
Even
them.
I
But
know. I'm the idiot who's never seen movies, and even I know there were still movies about crackpots being the ones who were right.
yeah, I'm not saying there
I
never
mean,
were movies about crackpots being. I'm saying the general public sentiment has done a 180
And I don't
in the
think it has
past
anything to
40
do with
years.
the movies.
I'm sorry. I'm not going to be one of these people that say video games cause violence or some shit like this, but the way I see these people talk about how they are personally characters in films.
But that's them. They'd find a different movie that didn't have a perfect analog, though, because that's just how they view the world. They would find something else that
I
would
think
just
more
would
people
just be
view
a
the
harder
world
stretch.
that way.
Think about all the people who look
if
at
there were
no.
movies, oh,
Think about all the
like
doofuses who associate and commiserate with the various forms of the Joker, even though the Joker is like drastically different than what they actually associate him with. They like the character, so they stretch it to be what they want it to be. It's just the thing with these people in the crackpot story trope thing that we're talking about. It's just more easy because you don't got to stretch it. That's all I think.
Spike, if there were no movies with that trope in them, these people would be going, I am Cassandra from the myth. No one is listening to me, and I am right. And that
I'm going to say they wouldn't be saying that because they
wouldn't know who Cassandra is.
Cassandra
I
is.
will say they would be making huge leaps about how like a completely different character who doesn't do the things they like is doing what they think they do.
And I am completely willing to sort of cop to the fact that there is no one singular cause for anything. A lot of this has to do with ego as well. A lot of this has to do with the human desire to be right.
Yeah, exactly,
no
like the Punisher. Think about how the goofuses who are like, oh, I like the Punisher. I associate with the Punisher. I feel like it's, we stand for the same shit. And the Punisher, if you actually paid attention, hates them. They don't care about
Punisher
actual
kills
meaning.
a shitload of cops.
I'm just saying, it's just they don't. If these people didn't have the one-to-one in media to point and look and go, oh look, just like me, they'd find it and they'd twist it and they'd make it happen.
It comes from a place of ignorance, and it comes from a place of ego, and it comes from a place of self-importance, which is I think a lot of. Gosh, how to even put this? I think a lot of people who back conspiracy theories, like there's the ego, there's the ignorance, there's the self-importance. And then there's also the attraction of being privy to esoteric knowledge.
I just
Huh?
realized that this is definitely a side that was like less prominent in the old podcast. That's like more prominent now. It's much more off the cuff, so people get more of a peek into how we are normally. Where it's like, I disagree with Spike, and I fly out of like nowhere, like no.
No, I mean you're fucking allowed to disagree.
Oh, I know.
With me.
I just
This
think
is
it's funny. I think
Yeah.
the tonal difference when it's less structured is funny because I think people.
Yeah, you're getting authenticity.
Yeah, I think past like outsiders might be more inclined to think we agree all the time, but then it's like when we're more off the cuff, it's like Amanda flies out of nowhere, like I'm gonna stab you, Spike. Hi.
I'm not gonna go into detail, but there are definitely times where I've been like running Iron Circus, and like y'all have been all like, I wouldn't do that, and I fucking want to hear why you wouldn't do that, because I think the awesomest way to absolutely fuck yourself into a corner is to not have people in your life who are willing to go, hey, that's not a great idea.
Anyway, I was trying to talk about making my comic, and you guys started to go.
Comics are for fucking nerds.
Go on, Kel.
But yeah, I was talking about how like I have been having fun trying to think of what would the conspiracy theories be in City Between World, but also being careful to make sure they are fundamentally wrong and the reader knows that these people are wrong. I've just been having fun with like that as a sort of exercise.
Can I just say real quick, Kel, I really admire your creative process.
Oh, wait,
and I love how much you put into your comic. And it's just like, I'm fucking jealous that you can talk about world building shit without losing all motivation.
Well, that's because, Spike, I'm of the firm belief that world building is icing on a cake, and this shit don't mean anything without a
Mhm.
story.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so the thing that I'm not sharing is the story that the conspiracy theories are gonna be in.
Mhm.
Because like the conspiracy theories at the end of the day don't matter. Like
Yeah.
that all the world building stuff is just like it's me dicking around and having fun. I feel like a lot of people fall into like using world building as procrastination against writing.
Yup. Eternal preparation.
And or they mistake world building for good writing. And it's like that sort of stuff, like the all the world building in the world doesn't mean anything without a story. Um
Exactly. Yeah, 100%.
and part of it is first of all, I don't usually lose motivation unless I am in the middle of a thing and it is just not working. And talking about it usually helps me fix it. Um, but also, I feel like no one ever reads my shit and no one ever wants to hear about it. So,
Mm,
that's the main reason why I don't share stuff.
yeah. This is your
But
reminder, everybody, that if you are reading a comic on the internet and you are enjoying it, it's like if you drop a tweet, at the creator going, "Hey, I'm super into your comic and it's going really well. Can't wait for the next page. Keep up the good work." That shit is like oxygen. It
yeah.
costs you nothing and it makes us feel alive.
Because I've been that whole like our discussion about like there are no publishers um, for adult graphic novels is just like City Between is at the point where it's kind of long enough that it could put out like an omnibus, and it's
Hmm.
sort of like I have no fucking idea where to send it. Like um, I don't know like where it would be a good fit, who would even be interested in it, which is why I specifically brought up I wish there was like Tor but for comics. um
Yeah. If you folks aren't familiar, Tor is a sci-fi fantasy publisher. They're a genre publisher. They've been around for ages, like ages and
yeah,
ages. And they have experimented
they've
with
been
graphic
around
novels, but
long enough that there is a shout out to them in A Song of Ice and Fire.
yeah. And they have experimented with publishing graphic novels, but they haven't like committed.
Yeah. Well, they were experimenting, and I heard a lot of people got laid off recently, so that's what happened with
Yeah.
their graphic novel experiment.
The, the period of growth is over. Not
What?
for not for novels, cartoons, or anything. I'm talking about for the American economy.
Hmm. So,
I think a lot of shit is gonna, honestly, real talk, everybody. I think a lot of shit's gonna get really hairy for some of your favorite creatives out there. So if you're the kind of person who's got a little extra cash hanging around, and if you want to maintain the kind of entertainment you are getting from a creator, now would be a great time to buy a graphic novel or subscribe to a Patreon or tip a coffee or do whatever. Because in my opinion, if you don't support the media you enjoy, you have no right to complain when it disappears.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I agree. I'm just like, damn. Got somber.
If you like, well,
um,
it's artists have it
yeah.
fucking rough, especially artists who aren't content working within systems and creating sort of like middle of the road stuff. If you and
Anyway,
yeah, but go for it. Sorry.
everyone can go read City Between on calmcdonald.com. Right now, the fourth story in the series is updating. It is about solving a murder where a guy was drowned in his living room somehow. Um,
It happens.
and um, you should all go read it. You should also read my other comic, You Are the Chosen One, which is about 23 kids that get the same prophecy dream. And that is only for people that back my Patreon, but it's for anyone who gives me any amount of money. So you could just do $1 a month and you get to read it.
Yeah. And it feels like we are winding down,
I've
so
been
I am
meaning
going.
to ask a question this entire
Oh, go for it.
time. So my
Go for it.
web
Go for it.
comic, I started updating it again. Or rather,
I saw you had a 2-page update today.
yes, it's to end the chapter. The chapter only had 2 pages left, and I said, "Fuck it, end it now." Anyway, long story short, I am working on it, and I want to bring pages back. but I would like yours and the chat's input on like ideas about how to bring it back. So, as mentioned previously, it is Love Me Nice. It is a comic that has never generated profit. That is A-okay. However, I would like to justify the creating of it, and sometimes that means it needs to make money so that I can ignore other things, because, like, no, I can ignore this little job. I don't have to make this graphic for Spike. Someone gave me $5 for Love Me Nice, so, and you know how, anyway. But yeah, so I'm trying to brainstorm how to do it. Like, I could do the whole, like, Kel, the Patreon thing, where, like, you read it all on the Patreon as an ongoing webcomic, but the whole comics, like, it has a website already. If I do that, should I, like, delay it? Like, it won't go up on the website for, I don't know what kind of...
I usually do City Between goes up on my Patreon a month ahead of time. So that might be a good option.
Delayed release, yeah.
Delayed release?
Yeah.
That's
okay.
that's literally what I was going to suspect. Also, Hannah is a palindrome. That's just some fucking king shit. Thank you. I'm sure the artists you support really appreciate it.
But I was also considering other things, like finishing like posting each page of a chapter to my Patreon, but when the chapter's done, releasing it all at once.
That'd be interesting.
So, like, it's just a whole chapter goes onto the website, but if you want to see the pages early, you gotta...
that sounds like a really cool approach.
Or is it better to drip feed them both ways? To drip feed them one page at a time on the Patreon, and then one page at a time delayed on the website?
Yeah, that's what I do with the City Between, and I've seen a lot of other webcomic people have success that way. I think the only reason why You Are the Chosen One works is because I am also doing the City Between. So it's a lot of people back for the City Between and then like stick around for You Are the Chosen One.
Yeah. Right now, I just I don't feel it is moral to charge for Blockada. See, I'm not calling it Patreon. I'm not calling it a Pillow Fort comic anymore because Amanda yelled at me. I'm going to call it Blockada. And just for fun, I'm going to go look. There are currently 33 pages of it up, which I am inordinately proud of. I don't deserve to be proud of that, but I am. And I'm scrolling back, and just so you know, those 33 pages have taken me, if we go back and look at page 1, 13 months.
Snake of June.
That is...
Sorry. Someone in the chat says, helps with constant traffic. Here's the thing, though, about the constant traffic. The constant traffic on the website, like on... If you're referring to doing the one page on Patreon at a time, and then when it goes up as a webcomic, one page at a time. The thing with Love Me Nice is it would... The only kind of traffic it would get is just, like, pure promotion, like word of mouth. If it's, like, traffic for ads... Love Me Nice has never been able to have ads. It's always gets what's it called?
Demonetized.
Demonetized?
Or
I feel like that's a YouTube term.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. I don't. My comic's not ad friendly, even though it is not porn. It doesn't matter. It still has themes in it that are not ad friendly. And I actually, even though I took the Google ads off my website because I got real tired of the Google ads sending me emails about how they're disabling my ads. So the traffic thing would only ever be a word of mouth, I guess, generate interest in it so that I can funnel them to the Patreon.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I was going to say, I feel like it would be immoral to attempt to monetize
on the newest
my current
page they say fuck twice.
My Pillow Fort comic because it moves so slowly, because I'm literally running a company while I am drawing a comic, and I draw the comic at the rate that the company permits, and when I'm really busy I don't draw it, and when I have some time I draw it, and that shows in its update schedule.
Yep.
Yeah, shit's rough.
Yeah, I mean, Iron Circus has taken up an enormous chunk of my life, and I don't regret that, but there are days where I wish I was like maybe 10 years younger, because if I'd been born 10 years later, I don't think Iron Circus would have existed. I think I would have just started a Patreon and done my comics through Patreon, and I'd just be sort of a working cartoonist. I wouldn't be running a publisher.
This is to scroll back a little bit to what Snake of June was saying about me talking about conspiracy theories in City Between World.
Mm-hmm.
I will give an example. So Connor is a werewolf character in the City Between. And he is like the public face of werewolfism, and because of that, he tries to be as human as possible all times. Kind of a respectability politics angle when the way he handles werewolfism. So he doesn't turn into a wolf in front of anyone, and he tries to hide most of his wolfier attributes. So I'm thinking one of the conspiracy theories is going to be that he's not really a werewolf. He's a secret government super soldier project. Because we've never actually seen him turn into a wolf. We've only seen him use his super strength and super speed. And I want to think of more stuff like that, like things the readers know are not true.
Yeah.
But someone who does not know the main cast would not have access to other information about them.
Yeah, when you're doing alternate world and alternate reality stuff like that, I always find them one of the most interesting balances. And actually, shit like Love Me Nice too. I find one of the most interesting balances is you're sitting there and going, how do I explain this thing that is definitely a thing none of the readers would be familiar with because it's not real, in a way where it doesn't feel like a character is, rolling out a chalkboard and getting a laser pointer and going, okay, this is how X works in this world. It's like that's not good writing.
Well,
that's boring and bad.
How I do with that is just I don't even know how it works.
Yeah,
I'm not joking.
I hit that when I jump off that bridge when I come to it. It's like, I'll figure it out or I won't, whatever.
Like, people are like, where did tunes come from? Like, how did they, like, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah,
don't know.
They're just there. Don't worry about it.
I don't know.
Just
I really don't. Well, what happens if they, I don't know. You can write that comic. Go write the comic that answers those questions because you're not getting it from me. I'm writing about these specific, 10 people and that's it.
Yeah, the one thing I'm super into right now in Blokada is, they're clearly not human.
I would be
the characters I'm drawing are clearly
reading that comic if you make it, by the way.
They're clearly not human, but the thing is they're going to be calling themselves people and they're going to be calling themselves human in the comic because I'm doing the whole thing where it's like, can we all agree that, they consider themselves what we would consider human because they don't know anything else. They're not familiar with us. They are people. They are human as far as they're concerned. So can we just not make a big deal about it and not freak out when they say I'm a human being? Thank you. I just don't want, it's not about that. It's not, I'm not doing a thing where it's like, oh, these are the X people of Y planet, because it doesn't matter because they don't have space travel and they don't know of anything that is not them, just like us. It's kind of like when people will go to other continents during the age of exploration and they'll ask them, what do you call yourselves? And the answer for every group almost was just, we're the people. We're people.
I did, that has, become a thing when I've been again, Purima is just a pitch, it's not a comic yet, but what came up a lot in the writing is I did try to replace human because it's there's a lot of human words. It's that really doesn't work because they are very pointedly not humans. In fact, the fact that there aren't any humans is actually a plot point. So the workaround has been to call everybody a something folk, rat folk, cat folk. It's just a something folk. And I can use things like people, but just not humans.
Yeah.
And it makes you realize how many words. It's oh, that word don't work.
Yeah. And it kind of makes me jealous of there every once in a while you'll run into an author. Ian M. Banks is one of my favorite sci-fi authors, and he wrote a book called Player of Games. I'm not going to get into the plot of it. I'm just going to say you should read it. It's great. It should be your first Ian M. Banks book. However, there is an aside in that book that I grin when I think about it sometimes. And it is about an alien planet that the protagonist is about to touch down on. And Ian kind of walks out from behind the curtain and says, okay, look, here's the deal. There are 3 sexes on this planet. And the way reproduction works is one provides what we would describe as the sperm, One provides what we would describe as the egg, and the third one does the incubation. Okay? I am going to call the one that provides the sperm he, and I'm going to call the one that provides the egg she. I am also going to call the one that provides the incubation she. So there are going to be one he and two she's on this planet. These are not the words they use for themselves, but I have no interest in making up terms. Okay, thank you. Enjoy the book. And then just leave. It's like, okay. It's really great.
That's a
I wish I had the cojones to do shit like that. Just be like, it's a horse. No, it's not a horse, but it's a fucking horse. Do you understand me? I love that. And Emielville does the same thing too. But yeah. I can't do that. I'm a coward.
Sure you can. Do we want to wrap up now?
We can wrap up now.
I think wrapping up would be a good idea.
Yeah, we're 2 hours in. Wow, 24 people sat through this. I'm so sorry, everyone. You can find me. You can find me and everything I do at ironcircus.com. That's Iron Circus Comics, the largest comics publisher in the American Midwest. We publish a little something for everyone, specializing in the strange and amazing. On Twitter, Iron Circus is at Iron Circus Comics, spelled with a C-O-M-I-X at the end, because the properly spelled way doesn't fit. We are currently crowdfunding The Sea in You, a middle grade and up retake on The Little Mermaid. It's really fun. It's a sweet queer romance. You should back it for Pride Month and give it to somebody you love who likes supernatural romances, maybe. My private Twitter is at, well, not private, anyone can see it, but you know what I mean. Personal Twitter is at iron_spike. I talk about a lot of shit on there. The comic I've been talking about that Amanda is now forcing me to call Blacada is at,
as long as you call it something.
Just don't call it late for dinner. It's at pillowfort.social/ironspike, all one word.
My name is Kel McDonald, and I make comics you can find at kelmcdonald.com, one of which is The City Between, which is about gay werewolves in a futuristic city. You Are the Chosen One is my other comic, which is on my Patreon, which is about 23 kids get the same prophecy dream, telling them they're the chosen one. You can find me on Twitter at Kelhound, which is spelt like Hellhound, but with a K. And I am also on Twitch at twitch.tv/KelMcDonald. And real quick, my brother is in my Twitch chat and is laughing at the I have no interest in creating a unique lexicon.
I'm glad he appreciates it. Tell him to read Ian M. Banks.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's where you can find me.
Amanda, your turn.
I'm Amanda Lafrene. I'm adding the Twitter handles into our names, like I said I'd do last time, but I forgot. You can find me on Twitter at AMANDAGAFFEADAY. That links to all of my things, such as my website and my Patreon and my agent's email. And if you follow me on Twitter, I'll yell about rats a lot and promote my webcomic and the other comics I'm doing. And before we
read
end
all
the
our
show,
webcomics, please. Read all of our webcomics, please. We work really hard on them, and we're really passionate about them. Thank you.
Before we end it, real quick, crowdsourcing ideas for a subject, like a springboard for next episode. Like we can keep it loosey goosey, but I just want to like some talking points, so we don't get horny
if there's
again.
anything. Yeah, because I'm going to default about talking about tiresome business shit or world history. Those are the two things I'm going to default to if you don't give me something real.
Please give us something. I don't want that.
Personally, I like to do, there's that trope of the kid that grows up to be an inventor or who took apart the family toaster. I like to do that, but with stories. So that's what I'm going to default to if everyone else like doesn't suggest a topic.
the whole Terry Pratchett deal where he's like, that doesn't make sense, and then writes a whole novel trying to make it make sense.
Yes, exactly.
I
I
love
mean,
that
You Are the
approach.
Chosen One is entirely based on on deconstructing the idea of a chosen one.
Yeah,
Um,
which is a very clever concept. So
um,
but yeah, if anybody has
we're
any
not getting
ideas,
any topic
There's a
suggestions.
lag.
did
You'll have to let the lag
Oh.
catch up.
I knew about the lag.
I'm just saying, you gotta let the lag
I knew.
catch up.
I knew.
Talking points discontinue power TV or which you wish you could guest on.
Not. I have some ideas. I wouldn't guest on them. I'm not an actor,
Hey,
but
you know what? I got a talking
I.
point. Would you do
I've.
strip search if it was a thing now?
Oh my fucking! Just fucking reaching into the way back. Like 90% of people are gonna be like, "What's strip search?"
I know there. You know what? There we go. We got our talking points. All right. Bye, everybody.
Oh god. Thank you for coming, everyone. We appreciate it. We really, really appreciate it. Please make sure to subscribe to Iron Circus Comics on YouTube and hit the little bell thing so every time we do a new geek show.
Also subscribe to my Twitch, which is Kel McDonald on
If you hit the little bell every time we get a geek show, you will get a notification and you can sit and put us on in the background as you draw or relax